Hello, everybody. Guess who? It's Nick Ravelis with San Diego Opera, and I'm the recently retired Director of Community Engagement. And my guest today on this very special episode of the San Diego Opera podcast is Andrea Puente Catan. Andrea, hola.
Hi, hola, hola a todos, hola amigos.
Good to see you.
Happy to see you all too, and just following all the rules.
That's right.
Taking care of us so we can take care of the others, and vice versa.
And that's why we're doing this interview on Zoom rather than face-to-face as we normally do. But I think this will work out really, really well. This, folks, is a very special edition of the San Diego Opera podcast. I'm joined today by Andrea, who, of course, is the Major Gifts Officer and the Hispanic Affairs Director for San Diego Opera. But she is also the widow of Daniel Catan, who is the composer of the operas La Hija de Rappaccini and Florencia en el Amazonas, which are two beautiful operas that we've produced here at San Diego Opera. Andrea is here with me today because we're looking forward to the streaming this evening, that's Tuesday, April 7th at 5 p.m. from Opera Santa Barbara of Daniel Catan's opera Il Postino. So we wanted to help you get prepared for that by having a conversation about Catan, the composer, as well as about the opera itself. So don't forget, tonight, Opera Santa Barbara Facebook page at 5 p.m. So again, welcome, Andrea. Let's get started, first of all, with the origins of this opera. I think many of us are perhaps familiar with the film Il Postino, which the opera is partly based on, and perhaps we know that it's somewhat based on reality because the poet, the Chilean poet Pablo Neruda, did spend time in Italy on the island of Capri off of the coast of Napoli in the 50s, I think in the mid-50s or early 60s. He would visit there. But the film adds a fictional relationship between himself and the young man who delivers his mail, the postman, Mario. And he's looking to the poet for inspiration for his love life so that he can write beautiful poetry to his beloved. So I want to ask, first of all, was the film your husband's sole inspiration, or was he also tempted to set music to these beautiful poems by Pablo Neruda?
Okay, so first of all, the film is based in a book called The Mailman of Neruda, El Cartero de Neruda, by Chilean writer Antonio Scarmeta. So that's the first thing. Mm-hmm. Then Michael Radford was inspired by this book. Michael Radford is the film director.
He directed the movie, right?
Was inspired by this book and then created Il Postino movie. But the main source is the book. And then we go to the screenplay that Daniel, was, used the part of the screenplay. And then, of course, all his life, Daniel Catan's life, he was inspired by Pablo Neruda, as all of us Latin American people that grew up with Pablo Neruda. It's a way of using the language in a just very magical, romantic way, and also very profound. He was very worried about the well-being of others, others that were not so privileged. So I don't know if the audience knows, but Pablo Neruda went to Spain when they were having the Civil War and helped. And there was all this group of writers that then after went to Latin America to live in Latin America. Several countries opened doors after the Civil War or during the Civil War in Spain to open their doors to the Republicans, So we have fantastic poets like, for example, Rafael Alberti, went to Argentina to say one name, a poet. So so there was all of this was and is in the book, in the film, in the opera. You will see one of the last scenes where there's this riot, and you see that there's these two ways of ideological ideas, the fascist and then the kind of like the leftists, and in that time. Many people have asked me if Daniel was a communist, and he was not at all. At all, he was more interested in than anything in art and in opera and music, in literature. But in the book is like that, you have these two opposing forces.
Yeah, and really there is a subplot in the opera dealing with a local politician who represents the old world politics.
Well, and the prevalent politics, I would say, a lot like still in Latin America, where they promise you things and something and it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
I think that's also there.
Yeah, and then the protest towards the end of the opera, which I don't want to reveal anything.
No, don't reveal anything. But I could say yes that that Daniel did compose three arias for the Pablo Neruda character based in Pablo Neruda's poetry.
Yeah, and of course the first one is Desnuda,
which means naked.
It's so beautiful. It is so gorgeous, the poetry and the music. I really believe that Daniel got it right, of really being able to portray that gorgeous language. And there's this dialogue between the poet and the young man about the metaphor.
Metáfora.
Which is really brilliant, because it really tells the audience what poetry is, and what Neruda was such a master at metaphor. I was reading through some of the poems in English translation because my Spanish is ridiculous, but even in English, the mixture, the sound, the images are so beautiful, and I think the composer captures that really, really quite beautifully.
Yeah, I also need to say that, so several things. There's this moment of an homage to America, and it's right in the beginning, because Mario has these cousins that came to America to make it, and he dreams about making it and dreams about going to America. So that's one. America, the continent, no, not only America, but America, the continent.
Yeah.
So that's something that is very prevalent there. Yeah. I think also the role of the women are important in this opera. So Matilde gives a lot of strength to Pablo when he's about to break.
Well, yeah, and Matilda is Pablo's wife. I want to say before you go on that this is one of the things I love about the opera is we've got two couples at very different parts of their relationship. We've got Mario and Beatrice, who have just met and fallen deeply in love, and Pablo Neruda and his wife Matilda, who have been married for many years, and it's a more mature relationship. It reminded me of the couples in The Marriage of Figaro, Susanna and Figaro, and the Count and the Countess. And the juxtaposition of these two pairs is really quite lovely, I think, in the opera. It made it for me.
You also see it in Florencia. You see these two couples.
That's true.
The difference with Florencia is that the mature couple, they were always at odds. Yeah. And in this opera, the mature couple is loving.
Yeah.
So that's something that
they're just in love. Yeah, they're in love, but in a different way, in a more mature way. Just the way they speak to each other, the language that they use, the way they treat each other. It's completely different from the younger couple who also very deeply love each other.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful aspect, I think, of this opera that I just love. I would bet, because there are 3 or 4 moments in the opera where the composer had the opportunity to write a popular song. So there's a romanza for Beatrice in the first act.
Right.
There's this recording of a song on
It's
the on the
a
record player,
bolero. Yeah. A
a,
bolero.
a bolero
Mhm.
on the record player, the recording that he plays, and then at the wedding, there's even a tango.
Yes.
Right? It's
So
just, did he have fun writing those popular pieces?
yeah. So in terms of the romanza, it's a Sephardic, inspired by Sephardic romanza, a song of the 14th century. And then he's there thinking about his Sephardic roots and that type of music, but so he was very influenced by Spanish music in this opera. And Daniel loved Manuel de Falla's music,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, anyway, so that's that. And then we have the bolero, Comprendo, and the bolero says, I understand that I'm never going to see your eyes again. That's how it starts. He composed that. Daniel composed that, and he loved all this music from the 50s, from Cuba, from the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. That kind of music, the bolero. And then we have the tango. Just he was having fun.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Fun, as well as when Mario's recording the sounds of the island. There's this moment where he records the sounds of the island, and he's having fun orchestrating that.
yes, oh, you can tell because he goes from place to place. He starts on the boat and he's recording the waves and the wind, and then he records the music of the bells and the cathedral.
The stars.
It's just so lovely.
But I must say something. This is an orchestration reduction. It's not the orchestra in the original is much more fuller, and also people are going to listen. Our audience is going to listen to. There's like at the beginning when Mario speaks, it's cut, like there's silences, and it's not like very fluid. But it's intentional because at the beginning of the opera, Mario hasn't acquired a voice yet as a poet. Yeah. At the end, then you see these long lines that Catan, that Daniel loved, especially with the voice, and you will hear that.
It's lovely. I wonder if well, you saw the Santa Barbara production.
Yes.
And I want to know, tell us a little bit about the production. Now, you've already said that this is a somewhat reduced orchestration because it was originally written on commission from Los Angeles Opera.
Yes.
Placido Domingo, of course, was the general director there and commissioned Daniel to write the opera. So it's for a full orchestra. But I think like many composers today, they're looking for ways to make these operas more accessible to smaller theaters. So it was very smart, I think, to come up with a reduction, something a little smaller, but that still captures the spirit of the work. But tell us more about the production itself.
So I love the production because it was not a grandeur kind of production. It was more reduced, more minimal, but really like capturing all the spaces. In this opera, you change of space very fast. It's almost like a film, and that's challenging. But I think Crystal Manig did really good work on this. She's the stage director. I loved her direction, as the same as Tlaloc Lopez Waterman. He was the light designer, and I just really like their work a lot.
Mm. And the singing, who are a couple of the singers that we get to hear? Who is the poet, first of all? Who is Neruda?
Well, Neruda is, I've never heard him before. Sorry, I'm gonna put my glasses. Um, Raúl Melo is the Neruda, and he used to be a cover at the Met a lot. He used to cover in the Met a lot, or I think he still covers, and he's the Neruda. And Mario, the postman, is Daniel Montenegro, and we all love him and have heard him in our stage, so that's great. A really nice discovery is this soprano, young soprano. Her name is Sarah Vatour, and she's part of the young artist at Los Angeles Opera.
And she is the Beatrice.
Beatrice. And then, you know, we have Susana Guzman that also has sang a lot with us.
Yes. Oh, I love Susana. I know Susana very well. Yeah.
There's this aunt of Beatrice, and she has this role that is, you laugh so much all the time. So these are our singers.
Oh, that's great. And who is the Matilda?
Matilda is a singer from, a young singer from, well, she was born in Los Angeles. Her name is Julia Metzler.
Okay. Well, I am so looking forward to it. Now, I have to tell you a personal story.
Yes.
Because I only had one connection, one brief connection with Daniel. Unfortunately, when he was here for La Hija de Rappaccini, I was the lecturer for the company, but I was not on staff. So I never actually met him.
Oh.
No, which I was very sad about because I loved La Hija de Rappaccini. But in 2010,
yes,
when Il Postino was in rehearsal at Los Angeles Opera for its world premiere.
Yes.
I was in rehearsal and in production at a tiny theater here in San Diego, Diversionary Theater, for one of my operas. And we cast one of the singers from LA in my opera, Abdiel Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah.
He was in the chorus, but he was chosen to play one of the small roles in Il Postino. And I needed to make sure that we weren't going to have any conflict with the rehearsal schedule. So I thought, you know, I'll email Daniel Catan. And so I did. And he sent the sweetest email back and said, please call me and let's talk. You know, I want to make sure that Adiel's going to be free. And I guess I could have called the company, but I really felt I didn't get a chance to talk to Daniel Catan last time. Now I'm going to. So we had a very brief phone conversation after that. It even turns out that we have a mutual friend who was teaching at the College of the Canyons.
Yeah.
When Danielle was teaching there. I'm sorry?
Bernardo Feldman or who?
No, it was Mark Rafter.
Oh, Mark Rafter.
Yeah. So, I mean, all this came back, and that was why I couldn't go up to see Il Postino when it was produced, because I was producing my own piece at the same time. So, so I didn't see it until just this last weekend, and I rented it on Amazon Prime. So it's the Los Angeles Opera version, folks. If you want it, it was like $4 or something to rent it, and watched it and just cried at the end. I absolutely loved every moment of it. It's such a wistful piece of music. It's a theater piece. It is so lovely. I just enjoyed everything.
I'm not the only one.
And I recognized some of the singers. Gregorio Gonzalez was the one who recorded the song on the record player. And it was so lovely. So thank you for spending time with us to help us get into the opera a little bit more. And
let's not forget that Kostis Protopapas is the conductor.
Yes.
Please also very important. He's you know, he's bringing this opera to Santa Barbara and to us now, and I just don't want to, you know, not to mention him.
Yeah, and it's so wonderful that we have the opportunity to see these pieces now online, right? To see
Yeah,
that.
you know, there has to be a silver lining in this moment, and the silver lining is how much opera companies have come together and we work together, and we, you know, we have all these Zoom calls, and all opera companies, you know, the different departments in the opera companies, we get together and we think about how can we be close to our patrons, how can we be close to our audience, what can we do right now. We don't want them to feel lonely or alone, or that we don't care, so we care. It's just we have to go into this virtual moment.
Yeah. So we're lucky to have that. So again, Andrea, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be safe. Again, tonight, folks, at 5 o'clock, Tuesday, April 7th, go to Opera Santa Barbara's Facebook page, not their web page, but their Facebook page, and you will see a streaming of Il Postino by Daniel Catan. Andrea?
Yes, let's get back to reality now. Bye.
I'll see you later.
Yeah. Be safe.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye.